In advanced laboratories, the hum of cooling fans and flicker of monitors are the only witnesses to a revolution. Science is often seen as a slow climb up established facts. But history reveals a series of violent disruptions. When scientists are shocked by data, it's more than a surprising result. The universe's mathematical language speaks a sentence we didn't think possible. Imagine a physicist watching quantum entanglement. Particles mirror each other instantly across vast distances, defying light's speed limit. Or a neuroscientist watching a monk's brain scan in deep meditation. The prefrontal cortex lights up with impossible intensity. These sparks ignite the mind-spark philosophy. We are not just biological machines, but complex, self-organizing energy networks. We constantly negotiate with the fabric of reality itself. To understand this, we dive deep into the human experience. From a single neuron's firing to the dance of galaxies, data shows we are far more than believed. Let's start with the architecture of the observer. Your brain. For over a century, the adult brain was a static, decaying organ. The belief was you were born with neurons that simply died off, like batteries losing their charge. But late 20th century data sent shockwaves, the discovery of neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. Even in life's twilight years, the human brain grows new neurons in the hippocampus, the center of memory and learning. This means your consciousness hardware is not a fixed circuit board. It's a living, breathing forest that can regrow after a fire. When you challenge yourself, pushing into discomfort of a new skill or difficult concept, you physically re-engineer your reality. The shock here is the realization of agency. If your brain can change its physical structure based on your thoughts and actions, then you are not a victim of your biology. You are the lead architect of your evolution. But why does this process feel so difficult? If we are so adaptable, why is human suffering and mental stagnation so prevalent? To answer this, we have to look at the energy budget of the brain. The brain represents only 2% of your body weight, but consumes 20% of your total metabolic energy. It is an expensive organ to run. Because of this, evolution has programmed the brain to be the ultimate optimizer. It loves shortcuts, habits, and the predictable. When you do the same thing every day, your brain enters a low-power mode, firing the same neural pathways with minimal effort. This is known as the default mode network. Shocking data suggests most people spend up to 47% of their waking hours in this autopilot state. We aren't actually experiencing reality. We are playing back a recording of what we think reality should be. The data shows that when we are shocked, when we encounter something that doesn't fit our mental map, the brain's energy consumption spikes. This is why change feels like physical pain. Your brain is literally fighting to save energy. But it is in that spike, in that moment of high-energy cognitive dissonance, where the most profound growth occurs. Now, let's bridge the gap between biology and the quantum realm. For a long time, biological systems were thought to be too warm and wet for quantum effects to matter. Quantum mechanics was reserved for the freezing cold vacuum of space or subatomic particles. However, the emerging field of quantum biology is revealing data that has left researchers speechless. Take, for example, photosynthesis or the way migratory birds navigate using the Earth's magnetic field. The data suggests these biological systems use quantum coherence to function. In the human brain, some theorists propose that the microtubules within our neurons might be capable of maintaining quantum states. If this is true, your thoughts are not just electrical impulses. They are quantum events. This changes the metaphor of the human being from a computer to a quantum field generator. When scientists saw data suggesting intention and observation could influence a system's state, it collapsed the wall between mind and matter. You are not just observing the universe. You are participating in its unfolding. Every thought you have sends a ripple through your biological field, signaling your cells to either prepare for growth or defense. Consider the stress paradox. In our modern world, stress is viewed as the ultimate enemy. We are told to avoid it, to medicate it, to run from it. But when biologists looked at data of long-lived organisms, they found something called hormesis. This is the phenomenon where a beneficial effect results from exposure to low doses of an agent that is otherwise toxic or lethal. In humans, this means short bursts of intense stress physical, like cold exposure, and exercise or mental, like solving a complex problem, actually activate survival genes that repair DNA and clear out cellular waste. The data was shocking because it proved that comfort is a slow killer. Our systems are designed to be tested. When you feel the weight of the world, the shock of a difficult life transition, your internal data isn't telling you that you are breaking. It is telling you that you are being upgraded. Your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, actually become more efficient when they are forced to work harder. The human spirit, viewed through a biological lens, is anti-fragile. Like a muscle, it requires the resistance of the world to find its true strength. Let's talk about the signal in the noise. We live in an age of information overload. But the data of our perception is actually very limited. Our eyes only see a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. Our ears hear only a small range of frequencies. We are essentially walking through a massive, invisible ocean of data, only picking up the Wi-Fi signals relevant to our survival. But what happens when we intentionally expand our perception? Neuroscience shows that through practices like deep focus, meditation, or even philosophical contemplation, we can lower the noise of the default mode network and begin to perceive the signal of the subconscious. Scientists were shocked to find that the subconscious mind processes roughly 11 million bits of information per second, while the conscious mind only handles about 40 to 50 bits. This means that 99.9% of your intelligence is operating below the surface of your awareness. When you have a gut feeling or a sudden stroke of genius, that is your 11 million bit processor finally getting a message through to the 50-bit screen of your consciousness. The goal of a MindSpark life is to align these two systems, to turn unconscious power into conscious action. The most profound shock in science might be the observer effect in quantum physics. The fact that the act of looking at a particle changes its behavior. If we apply this focus to psychology, we find a stunning parallel. The way you look at your own life, the narrative you tell yourself actually changes the biological data of your body. If you view a challenge as a threat, your body produces cortisol and constricts your blood vessels. If you view that same challenge as an opportunity, your body produces DHEA and dilates your vessels. The data of the external event is the same, but your internal response is completely different based on your perception. This is the ultimate mind-body hack. You are the observer of your own internal quantum system. By changing the lens, you change the biology. Scientists saw this in placebo studies, where the mere belief in a cure triggered the brain to produce its own pharmacy. This isn't magic. It's highly sophisticated neurochemistry triggered by the power of thought. As we look toward the future, the data suggests we are on the verge of a new understanding of human potential. We are moving away from the idea of the average human and toward the optimized human. We are discovering that the limits of our endurance, intelligence, and even lifespan are not fixed points. They are variables. When scientists looked at the data of super-agers people in their 90s with the brains of 20-year-olds, they didn't find a magic gene. They found a pattern of lifelong learning, social connection, and a refusal to stop being shocked by the beauty of the world. They found people who kept their mind spark alive. This tells us that the secret to a long and vibrant life isn't just in the molecules we ingest, but in the information we process and the curiosity we maintain. We must also address the philosophical shock. If the universe is as interconnected as the data suggests, then the ego, the sense of being a separate I locked inside a bag of skin, is a mathematical illusion. In physics, there is no such thing as a truly isolated system. Everything is touching everything else. Through fields of gravity, electromagnetism, and quantum entanglement. When you feel a sense of awe looking at the stars or a deep connection to another person, you aren't just feeling something. You are experiencing the underlying data of reality. The shock is that we are not separate observers of the universe. We are the universe experiencing itself from a specific point of view. This realization shifts the focus from competition to contribution. If I am part of the same system as you, then your growth is my growth. The data of the heart and the data of the lab are finally beginning to say the same thing. So, why does all of this matter for you sitting there watching this video? It matters because we are living in a time of radical transition. The old maps of how to live, work, and think are being rewritten by the data of the 21st century. You are being asked to navigate a world that is moving faster than our evolutionary history prepared us for. But you have the hardware, you have the 86 billion neurons. You have the quantum-tuned cells, you have the 11 million bit subconscious. The shocking data isn't something to be feared. It is an invitation. It is the universe's way of tapping you on the shoulder and saying, there is more to you than this. You are an energy grid, a signal processor, a biological marvel, and a philosophical mystery all wrapped into one. The mind spark is that moment of realization when the science stops being a textbook and starts being a lived experience. It is the moment you realize that your stress is actually energy waiting to be redirected. That your fear is just an outdated survival algorithm and that your potential is an infinite field of probability. The data is in. The results are clear. You are built for greatness, not because of a motivational speech, but because of the very laws of physics and biology that govern your existence. Every breath you take is a complex negotiation with the atmosphere. Every thought you think is a reorganization of your neural landscape. You are a masterpiece of data in motion. As we wrap up this exploration, I want you to sit with one question. If you truly believe that your brain was capable of rewiring itself at any moment, and that your perception literally dictated your biological health, what is the first fact about your limitations that you would delete? The data shows that the only true limit is the one we stop questioning. The scientists were shocked because they realized the universe is much more flexible than they imagined. Now it's your turn to be shocked by your own capacity for change. The journey of MindSpark science is about more than just facts. It's about the transformation of the self, through the lens of the cosmos. We are here to bridge the gap between the lab and the soul, between the equation and the emotion. Because at the end of the day, science is not about certainty. It is about the courage to follow the data wherever it leads, even if it leads to a version of yourself you never dared to imagine. You are the experiment, the scientist, and the result. Thank you for being part of this intellectual odyssey. If this deep dive into our biology and physics moved you, if it sparked something in your mind, then I invite you to join our growing community of thinkers. Hit that like button to help the algorithm find other curious minds like yours. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their limits are illusions. And most importantly, subscribe to MindSpark Science. We are on a mission to decode the mysteries of existence, one shocking piece of data at a time, and we want you with us for every breakthrough. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think our consciousness is purely biological, or is there a quantum element? Let's start a conversation in the comments. Keep your mind open, keep your heart engaged, and never stop looking at the data. I'll see you in the next discovery. Stay curious, stay brilliant, and keep that spark alive.